the warrior archetype is an important one for all of us. It's our ability to set healthy boundaries and not only really believe that we're worthy of these boundaries, but set them, take a stand for them, speak up for them. It's our ability to stand up for what we believe in, to face our truths and make those changes, to speak our truth without fear that we're going to be rejected, because it's our truth and it comes from a place of embodied, heart-centered love. That's the healthy warrior. And like all archetypes, it has a shadow. And this shadow might mean that the archetype, the energy of the warrior, is overexpressed in that it's pushy and a force of energy that kind of comes across as aggressive, as the tough guy or the bad girl. It might also be overexpressed in a sort of guarded way, where the energy is actually aloof and don't come near, and protective in a sort of withdrawn, doors closed kind of energy. Of course, the shadow can be underexpressed. With the warrior archetype being kind of suppressed, if you like, underexpressed, you might be a bit of a pushover, like kind of seemingly going with the flow, but actually just not in your own truth, not in your own power, ultimately. It might be that you're a yes man or woman, that you're a people pleaser, but that means that ultimately you're not honoring other people because you're not honoring yourself. The warrior archetype is important for each of us as individuals, but also as a collective to kind of bring that power back to the people. And really, there's a common thread to all of these archetypes, but as we are reshaping them, which we all have the ability to do, we're also reshaping them in the collective. So maybe the warrior archetype might have been distorted in this era. We don't really have true examples of warriors except for in films. You know, the military really aren't individuals in their power, I wouldn't say. Maybe you might go to sort of martial artists, and that balanced, present strength that's ready to protect, but not attack. And this is quite key to that warrior energy. It's that awareness of self, and the ability to stand up for ourselves in whatever way that is needed at a time, but that comes from a place of love. So the warrior archetype, yes, is a masculine energy, but it exists within all genders, within men and women. And the challenges or the growth areas within the warrior archetype show up when they're ready to be integrated. So I wonder if you can consider a time or a way of your own being where you are reactionary, where you're unable to stop yourself, and this keeps coming up. It's like affecting your life. You know, you're not able to control, you're not giving a sort of balanced response, you're triggered and reacting. This is an area of growth for you. It's a place in your life where often in childhood you learn to protect yourself. So I love internal family systems, and this correlates really well with understanding and exploring the warrior archetype, because we have these protector parts, these parts within us that protect us, that stand up for us, that react maybe in a way that is snappy and pushes someone away, reacts in a way that goes into freeze or aloof mode, as I spoke about earlier. It could also be a protection whereby we numb feeling. We turn to food or drink or sex or socializing to escape ourselves. And often these are maladaptive techniques that we've learnt at a younger age. When life was too much, we were often in fear in those times, and these protector parts came through to protect us. And so when the awareness of these parts, of these reactionary triggers, where we start to recognize a pattern, when we are able to bring that awareness, or it arises in our awareness, then you know this is ready for integration, and this is a growth edge for you. This is a hurdle in your hero's journey, which is really exciting. It's a challenge, but it's exciting. So once we have this awareness, we can start questioning, you know, like we can start to recognize, oh, I'm triggered, this is what's going on, you know, and then we can trace the root. Like, so often the present day reaction is not as great as it really is. It's a trigger from the past. And I work with embodied exploration, often through dance, that inquiry where we like kind of shift into a liminal shamanic kind of space where timelines blur, and we can start to awaken through the body memories and older stories when these protector parts started to come up. And then from that place, from that awareness, we can start to love the parts that are being protected, the parts of us that are in fear or that we feel ashamed of. Often, you know, our inner child parts, the gentle, timid, really afraid little pieces within us that need loving, need integrating. And once we start to have that awareness and bring that love and dialogue with our often inner child, then we start to reintegrate. And the warrior starts to, balance. We start to learn healthy boundaries from a place of embodied awareness, not from a reactionary, overcompensatory way. We start to speak our truth, but from a way that is emotionally regulated rather than reactive. And slowly but surely, and within ourselves, but with people that we feel safe with, we start to really integrate these parts, integrate the warrior archetype, and really just come further into our power. It's a wonderful, wonderful archetype to explore for this reason, and it also forms part of the King and the Queen archetypes, in that it upholds loving truth, not just for the self but for the greater good, not just for an ego lack, which is trying to grasp something we feel is lacking, but for love ultimately. The King and the Queen encompass the warrior, but also the lover, the mother and father, the warrior, the priestess, the kind of alchemical energy. They need each other. All these archetypes need each other. It's a wonderful journey, and one that I explore in my Sovereign Being dance series, which I'll be running this winter in person in Yorkshire. So if you're local to that, then I'll post a link around this posting, and if you're interested, get involved. But we'll also have a new moon sister circle mantra tantra session exploring the warrior, because this is really quite prevalent at this time of recording, mid-October 2024. But the warrior archetype is necessary at all times, and I hope this has given you some insight into exploring it with love.